Welcome to the Philantrepreneur Show, hosted by Dr. Victoria Boyd, designed to offer tips, strategies, and insight to empower nonprofits and entrepreneurs with sustainable win-win solutions. The Philantrepreneur Show is sponsored by the Philantrepreneur Foundation, building capacity through education and professional services.
Okay, welcome. This is Dr. Victoria Boyd, President and Founder of the Philantrepreneur Foundation, and we have another great show today, just full of tips, strategies, and insight for the business and nonprofit sectors. Well, it has rolled around again. Here it is, April 15th. We all know what that day is. It's tax day, and I hope most of you have got your taxes filed. It does seem to roll around really quickly. But I hope you've already done it and you're not under that last-minute rush. However, if you are caught in that last-minute countdown, our Philantrepreneur Show tip today will have some great information on those late filings or getting an extension. And then some other news. I hope everyone had a chance to see the spring edition of the Philantrepreneur Journal. If you haven't seen it, go to our website or our Facebook page. There's a link in both places. The reason I mention it is that there are great articles on marketing by our column writers from many different perspectives, information for both entrepreneurs and nonprofits. I guess that is why marketing and its various aspects has always been a huge interest of mine, and I really study it. I follow it and look at the trends and everything that's happening. And everyone needs exposure, and if you are running a business or a nonprofit, they need to understand which marketing tool might serve you best. And so you need to pay attention in terms of what is your market and who will follow you and on what resources will they follow you most. So that is why today our guest is so important. And it's Guy Dawson, managing member of Classy Communications, producer and host of PR Connections radio show, and just recently launched the Guy Dawson Live internet television show. Guy is also a columnist who has written for a host of publications in the Vegas region, and he writes for us, the Philantrepreneur Journal, and is also proud to have him as the columnist for our feature article called Travels with Guy, in Search of Philantrepreneurs. And we'll let you know later how to connect with Guy if you want to be interviewed by him and let him tell your story. But let me stop jabbering because I know I can keep on jabbering. Guy, I have your work bio here, but I always want to start with what makes you tick. And I think our listeners do too. So tell us more about you, your background, and how you ended up in PR doing all the things that you do. And welcome to the show.
Oh, thank you so much, Victoria. It's a pleasure, and I really appreciate you inviting me to be a part of this show, and I know some of the things that we've been doing with the Philantrepreneur Foundation, and it's given me an insight into your platform and the way that you're looking out for people by enhancing their experience in developing their nonprofit organizations. And so, yes, it's just really a pleasure to be a part of the show today. As far as me, you know, I've been living in Las Vegas since 1996, and I came out here originally doing construction during the boom of Las Vegas, where they were building lots of casinos and things. And so I was a young man and just came out here doing construction all through the late 90s and the early 2000s, and then, of course, all that dried up. All of a sudden they weren't building the casinos anymore, and the whole economy and climate of the town changed a lot. And all during that time, though, I've always been an entrepreneur. I started my first business when I was 12 years old, and I have basically been doing some type of entrepreneurial endeavor throughout my entire life. So what ultimately led me to get into PR and get a business started was, again, it was just construction dried up, and so there wasn't that opportunity to earn an income in that field. And I guess it was around 2003 or 2004 I started doing some personal development seminars, which is something I highly recommend. I think that when you start working on yourself and your own personal development, you begin to really discover what you're good at and what you have an affinity for. And I went through these seminars, and I finally really discovered what it was I wanted to do when I grew up. And I was, 35 years old maybe at that time when I finally started to discover. And it was interesting. And the guy, and he talked about people are successful at things that they're wired to do well. And he talked about the synapses in the brain, and that certain people have an affinity to do certain things just because of the way that their brain is wired. And he also said that the thing that you are probably best at, you don't even realize you're great at it, and that you can make a career out of it because it's such a natural thing for you. When I was sitting there listening to this guy, it all came to me. It was like an epiphany, and I started thinking about what had I been doing all my life that I was good at and that people had recognized me for. And so I finally figured out that it was speaking and writing and marketing. And so just gradually a series of things, and around 2008, all the pieces of the puzzle came together, and it all created the interest that I've had, sustaining interest in public relations, which is a combination of journalism, of speaking, communication in all its forms, and so that's why I ultimately started Classic Communications, PR, and Advertising in 2008, which was also an interesting time in Las Vegas because we were experiencing some economic challenges at that time, but I was so committed to bringing recognition to businesses through marketing and PR that it didn't matter how many challenges there were at that time. I just stayed focused on it, and as the years have passed, I've been in business now for a little over 7 years, and I love it more now than I did 7 years ago. It's just a huge passion for me to present businesses, to give them consultation on things that will make them more successful, and to bring recognition to them.
You know, it's interesting that you mentioned the 2008-2009 recession, because there was actually a big shift in marketing and the whole nonprofit sector, corporate sponsorships and things like that, right in that exact same era. Because of the recession, that's when a lot of the corporations left the whole event sponsorship realm and started doing what is called meaningful marketing, because I was a corporate representative for a big foundation, and so I was very in tune to what all of that change and trends that were happening. But also, I mean, I guess that's when I really also became very interested in the marketing sector and how important it was in all of the things that I was developing too. And it seems like with our foundation, the Philantrepreneur Foundation, it's been a real predominant focus for me over the last several months, especially as we launched so many new services. And, you know, I've met with you several times, discussing the different areas included in just the full marketing plan. But more importantly, in my work, I come across so many that are utilizing all of these different valuable channels, and a lot of the nonprofits or beginning entrepreneurs really don't understand the difference between some of the different terminology, that is marketing versus PR versus advertising and things like that, but also where would they get the maximum results. And so here we go again. I'm a teacher, and this is going to be a teaching show. So I want them to thoroughly understand the different areas of, I'll call it the big marketing umbrella. So, guys, you're the expert. I want you to tell us first what is really included in this overall marketing umbrella.
Well, there are, as you were saying before, Victoria, there are so many facets to marketing, and there are a lot of people that struggle with the distinction between public relations and between marketing and advertising, and I think my perspective on marketing, because I'll start there, even though my business is actually a PR firm. My perspective on marketing is that where most businesses, particularly ones that are just getting started, have a lot of their challenges is really defining what works well for them in marketing. when they're trying to reach their target market. And that's, in essence, for me, that really is what marketing is all about. It's not about randomly just putting out messages to people or talking about your business or just reaching and reaching and reaching for audiences. Marketing is about your target market. And really, when I'm working with businesses, when on the marketing side, and we're just getting started developing a marketing plan for them, I would say I spend the first probably 4 or 5 times I get together with a person when we're working on their marketing. Most of the time is spent really figuring out what their target market is. Who do we present this to where there will be the best chance for you to get a return on investment? And I just think that that's a very, very underrated aspect of marketing. And when people are working with marketing firms, they're never really able to get clear about what it is that the market they're trying to reach or the message that they're trying to create. And that's the beginning. It's getting you.
Yeah.
What is the avenue?
On the microphone because you're breaking up a little bit.
No, I'm just on the phone.
Oh, okay. Yeah, maybe.
Can you hear me now?
Absolutely now. Yes, it is a little bit clearer.
Okay.
It's interesting that you should say they don't understand their target marketing. I am doing a whole class series on the process of developing a business plan, and a big, what I call pre-launch of business or rethinking your business is looking at your marketing feasibility and who is your target audience. What problem are you solving and for who? And I think maybe it's because a lot of the entrepreneurs and nonprofits actually haven't gone through the process of developing a business plan, which right then would identify who their target audience is, making your job easier, ultimately.
All right, yeah. Yeah, I spent a lot of time on my business plan, actually, before I launched my business. And I absolutely, I think that it does clarify things because it forces you to study your industry.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. You're doing comparisons and who is your competition? If you even know what the competition is, many times you don't have to recreate the wheel. You just look at how successful, who's in your market, the big successful ones, how they're marketing, that they're identified and have identified the target market right there. Okay, we're going off on these side things. We probably talk about powers here.
Well, no, I mean, it's very interesting how you're connecting to what I'm talking about. It, you know, Victoria, when I'm working with clients on their public relations and marketing, what we're ultimately doing is we're just trying to get in that sweet spot, whatever that avenue is. And sometimes there are several different avenues that work very well in a person's specific industry, because the person understands their industry a lot better than I do when I start working with them. I have some overall things that I think that work very well for industries, ways of marketing and getting you connected with your audience and staying in front of them on a consistent basis. And that's a lot about what is the value of public relations and marketing is really it's the consistency of people seeing you.
Right.
And you create a lot of business. It's unbelievable when you have a combination of a really good idea of who the market is that you are trying to present to, and then a very consistent message that you're presenting to them all the time. You never want people to forget you. So we start at such a basic level like that. Just can we get these two components down, really concrete, have a great foundation for your overall marketing, then there's always other concerns, of course. I mean, what is your budget? What is your ability to be able to stay in a marketing program? Do you have a cash flow within your business to be able to implement things? Sometimes, depending on the industry, you have to implement things that are more expensive to get in contact with your target market. Sometimes you're on a tight budget. I have businesses that I work with that are at both levels. Some of them have good budgets where they have money to be able to spend to reach out to their target market. Sometimes I have businesses that don't have very big budgets, and they need to use what I call guerrilla tactics and other ways of marketing that are much more cost-effective, but that can still reach their target.
Right. The thing is, for you to be effective, though, they need to come to you with certain understandings of their business. And I know you said you spent the first 4 or 5 sessions with them just trying to identify the target market, when in reality, they should already know that when they come to you.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Absolutely, they should. And these basic type of business courses that are offered, like the things that you do with your organization, these classes that you give that are just excellent, the workshops that you provide that help people at that level, when people begin to gain an understanding from attending workshops like that, it makes my job a lot simpler, because then a lot of the groundwork has already been laid, and you have that better understanding of what your business is all about. And then you get to me, and then you can tell me immediately, okay, I've discovered what my target market is, and now we can start to move forward a lot quicker. But I would say most of the time, businesses come to me and they are not very clear really about their message or their target market.
Yeah. So we're going to have to collaborate so that when they come to you like that, you're going to say, first you need to go to this training over here, and then come back to me, because you want to give value on what you provide, what services you provide, and your value can be, the value and the money they spend utilizing your services the return on investment will be so much higher, and then they can start talking about what great services you did in terms of what your real company is about, and that's PR. See, I'm trying to build your company, too.
You know how much I appreciate you, Victoria. And, yes, and what happens is when businesses come to me like that and they haven't developed a real message or clarity, one of the things that I have to explain to them is that your process is going to take longer, because now I'm going into the educational aspect.
Yep. So, okay, we're talking about marketing and PR. You still there, guys? Okay. Oh, my. And we're going to get into the difference between marketing and PR and marketing. As soon as we get Guy back, I see his call has dropped. He'll call right back in. But in my experience, as I've been working with marketing and PR is really, reaching out to the press to be aware of, so that they can help you become aware in the general market. That is, here we go. Hello, Guy, you're back here.
I am back. I didn't want you to think that I ran out on you, Victoria.
Yeah, I know that just happens sometimes. These calls get dropped. But I was in the process of asking the question and trying to help our listeners understand the difference between PR and marketing, even though with some of your clients, when you get to them, you have to take a few steps back and make sure that their target audience underneath that marketing umbrella is correct. But then you have the ability to, what I call, focus on one particular area, and that's PR. So let's talk about the difference between PR and marketing.
Wonderful, Victoria, and that is something that I'm approached with, a question that I'm approached with often, is what is the difference between the two. When I'm emphasizing public relations for a business, I am more focusing on the story. And I like to put it at there. And there are many, many different ways that you can explain the difference, but this is what I've discovered works best for me. With public relations, what we're doing is we're creating a story about your business. What it does well, why it does it well, and how it benefits the community. And through these stories that we leverage free media to present your story to the world. And we do that by getting you in magazines or newspapers or on television or on radio or through social media marketing. But what we're doing most of the time is telling your story. Or another word that you also hear often about public relations is we're carrying your message. But specifically in PR, it's really the story. It's the story about what you do, why you do it, and why you got into it. And one of the things that differentiates marketing and public relations also is that we're always trying to build your credibility through the endorsement of others. And then usually it's that third-party credibility or second-party credibility. When someone else is, quote, tooting your horn. A columnist writes a story about your business. And so in marketing, so I'll give a little bit of the difference here. In marketing, you basically are tooting your own horn. It's you talking about your business and the benefits of it, why people would want to purchase your product, whereas in PR, it is a form of marketing in that we market third-party endorsements and your story. So with marketing, there are so many different techniques that you use to reach out to people, so many forms of it, billboards, but radio advertising, so many different ways. But like you said before, they are somewhat interchangeable. But whenever you're reading a story about a business, that's PR. That's public relations for that business.
I like the simplicity, that you said it's someone else telling your story versus in marketing or just putting out social media. It's you telling your story, and it gives that validity, credibility. I just learned something today.
Well, I really appreciate you asking me, Victoria, because every time that someone asks me this, it forces me to clarify my message and to understand my industry better. And by me understanding my own industry better, I'm of much better service to my clients. And I know that you're an educator as well, and you understand the value of personal education and being teachable.
Well, okay, so PR, because we've even talked about Haro, help a reporter out. That it's an online system or platform where you can sort of post stories or talk about. Does that have real value? I'm just, I've been looking at it, but do stories actually get posted through there?
They do. I've done things with help a reporter out. As a matter of fact, I've done quotes. They've gotten in contact with me, and I've created relationships with reporters to help a reporter out. I guess it depends on how you utilize it. And initially, when I was doing things with help a reporter out, I was more looking for opportunities to get stories for clients that I had. Well, there are so many stories out there, and they don't always match what my client is seeking. But so much about what PR is all about is it's the connections that you make. So sometimes I can't match a story or a reporter with a particular client, but there are other ways that I can contribute by giving quotes myself to a reporter, and there I am. I'm establishing relationships because you never know when there might be a story that could be of interest to that reporter on down the line somewhere. I spend a lot of my time as a publicist really just creating good relationships with people because you just never know. Well, I guess you do understand that the media is always, always, always needing content.
Yes.
And you just never know when that
time to get it out there.
Right. And so sometimes things don't just match at that time, but on down the line, if you've cultivated a relationship, and that's the reason why a person or a business hires a publicist, is because I spend my time cultivating the relationships that will put me in a better position to be able to get your story out in front of other people. Anyone can write a press release and send it into a publication and perhaps get an article in a magazine or a newspaper or get a story on TV. And I'm not saying that anyone couldn't do that. They could. You have to understand from a reporter's point of view is that they're receiving thousands and thousands of press releases every month, and I do because as you were saying, I'm a columnist, and so I'm on a lot of people's lists where press releases and things are sent. And when they're receiving that many press releases, obviously you can't read as a reporter all of those press releases or all those media inquiries. The advantage that a public relations firm has is that we've already established relationships with these reporters. And so basically the difference is when I call a reporter, they know me. They'll pick up the phone, and there's a lot more of a connection with me because of the relationship that we've already established. So you have a better chance to be able to get them to take a look at your story and perhaps get it published.
Absolutely. That's the value in what you do. I mean, that's really, because some people say, well, why do I need a PR, publicist or something to do that? But just having those connections is valuable right there. So with marketing and PR and advertising, do you feel that you need to have all of these elements working all of the time to be effective, or are there a few must-have or priorities that you, I'll just say for a nonprofit or entrepreneur, that they need to have working most of the time to get their word out?
One of the greatest quotes that I ever heard about PR and marketing, Victoria, was from Bill Gates. And Bill Gates said, if I had $2, I would spend $1 on PR, $1 on marketing.
Okay.
Yeah, so that kind of, for me, that really sums it up, is that you have got to have a continuous balance of utilizing the principles of both marketing and public relations if you're doing business.
Yeah, I think I'm going to have to get you to class on how to create that balance, what that looks like. I have my visions of what it might look like, but you might be able to help some others actually draft what theirs should look like. Interesting. Okay, a balance. Because technically I was thinking one might have a little bit more influence over the other. Just my thoughts. That's why you shouldn't depend on my thoughts.
All right. But, I think that some businesses really, really benefit a lot from PR. I mean, I'm not saying that it's going to be a complete balance all the time, that you're going to have that 50-50 split. I mean, at times, if you got an opportunity to get a story in the New York Times, and you can pay a publicist and you get a press release published, and the next thing you know, your story is in the New York Times, and you're making a lot of money from the exposure that you got from that story. Well, at that time, you're a little unbalanced. But your overall philosophy is what I was more talking about.
Yeah, a lot of people are only using PR when they have what I'll call a special event or something like, I'll call it a one-up or, like a special event. They only use PR then. Can you use it when you're just doing everyday stuff, just to promote the business you do?
Yeah, it goes back to relationships, Victoria. It's the most successful businesses are the ones that maintain relationships, and that's the whole public relations is relating to the public. So you have to remain in that mindset of having ongoing relationships with the public and with the media, because as I was talking about before, you never know when a reporter is going to need a story, and when you continue to cultivate those relationships through PR, not just when you're having an event. Although yes, it's wonderful to promote your event. It's just like any relationship that you have. The more you put into the relationship, the more you get back from it consistently.
Yeah. Okay, we're going to take a quick break here, and then we're going to come back and talk about how to, what I say, feed the reporters the information. It's through what is in a media kit, but we'll be back with Guy in just a few minutes after we take some commercial break.
The Philantrepreneur Foundation. Build your capacity with our educational programs and professional services. Learn how to be a philantrepreneur. Maximize your social impact and maximize your revenue. Visit thephilantrepreneur.com or philantrepreneurfoundation.org to find services, resources, and training to launch, enhance, or improve your business or nonprofit strategy. While there, sign up to receive the Philantrepreneur Journal digital publication. Today's Philantrepreneur Show tip.
Okay, this is time for our tip of the day, and as you all know, it is tax time. And one of my close friends, his name is Jim Eckley, and he's owner of JD's Tax and Financial Solutions here in Vegas. But he gave us a really good tip on, because today is that day, April 15th, that last day. Here's some tips if you have not filed today. If you're unable to complete your actual tax filing for today, April 15th, be sure to get an extension filed by today. Filing an extension avoids any late filing penalties, especially in the event you owe money. If you do owe money or think you will owe money, then it should be paid by today, April 15th, even though you can't complete your filing. This will ensure that you don't pay any additional late payment penalties. Taxes are due on April 15th, the prescribed time period set by a statute. Regardless of the fact that you get an extension to actually file the return, the money is due today. So, if you are in the Las Vegas area and still have not done your taxes, JD's is accepting clients today. You can find them at 2300 South Jones, and you can get over there and they will file an extension and take care of you today. So make sure that you're not late and you get that information in.
The Philantrepreneur Journal, a quarterly digital publication reaching over 600,000 entrepreneurs and nonprofits. Get targeted exposure to reach your ideal customer with our unique Ads for a Cause, where 50% of the fee goes to support our nonprofit training and services programs. Together, we can make a difference, create impact, and build capacity. Visit thephilantrepreneur.com, Marketing Ads tab for all the details. Mention this show and get a 10% discount.
Okay, welcome back as we continue with Guy Dawson, managing member of Classy Communications, producer and host of the PR Connections radio show and the Guy Dawson Live Internet television show. Okay, we had a great overview of PR and marketing, and one of the items you mentioned, or I mentioned basically, was a media kit. And I know we talked about reporters, but it's actually where I think, and I'm guessing, they go to find and get specific information about you or the organization. And I know I've seen it in different formats. People have actually even called it different things, and I was confused until I talked to you. But I want, please explain to me first, what is a media kit and what should it contain?
Well, Victoria, a media kit is basically a sales package of your story. And you have one of the things that you want to do when you're trying to create a public relations campaign or to reach the media is you want to make things simple for reporters. As I was talking about before, reporters are very busy people, deadlines to meet all the time, people to interview, and when you have a story that is newsworthy and you want to present it to a person in the media, you want to give them a lot of information so that they don't have to do additional research. So you're basically saving them time when you create a format that gives all the basic information about your business or your organization or you individually. So that's the real reasoning behind creating the media kit is for it to be informative, for the person that you're sending it to. Generally, it's a member of the press, and secondly, or sometimes it could be another PR firm. It just depends on who it is that you're working with at that time, and you want to make it extremely informative. And generally now they're all in digital form. In the past, media kits would be a full copy, and you'd have physical paper sometimes, every once in a while, I still see a physical media kit. But generally now, we live in such a digital age where information moves around through emails and Facebook and things. And so they're in a digital form. And inside of a media kit is you have certain elements that will make it much easier for a reporter to be able to report on your story. So you'll have things like, well, of course, you'll always have a cover page. And then you'll have a basic press release about your business. You'll have a biography about the founder or the organization. You'll want to have testimonials. You'll want to have lots of pictures, any video if possible. And in doing this, a lot of people don't really understand how busy reporters are. But again, I can tell you because not only am I a publicist, but I'm also a reporter. And when people present me with a really good media kit, and it's so thorough that all I have to do is basically go in, pull out the really pertinent facts from that media kit, and then present a story. Maybe get in contact with you, have a short interview, but most of the article is written based off of that media kit. It really enhances the chances of me wanting to pursue your story and write about it and get it out there.
Well, it makes you, it sounds like it's showing you that organization also has credibility. Because you mentioned credibility earlier in the show, telling your story, and if a reporter writes about you, but having good content, showing that, this is just not a fly-by-night. They have a good media kit. Doesn't that instill more confidence in you as a reporter? Say, oh, okay, this is a good company. I should promote them.
Oh, absolutely. It definitely lends credibility to what you're doing because I have a lot of facts presented to me, and I can go in and I don't have to do a lot of my own research. You've already done a lot of my research for me, and trust me, reporters really appreciate when you've done research. Of course, they're still going to do some research. That's part of being a reporter is that you have to check facts. So you're constantly alternating between what's presented to you by someone in the form of a press release or a media kit and then actually going in and doing all your own research. I can just tell you that. Absolutely, it's a tremendous credibility builder, and it creates that environment that makes you much more your business is one that someone's going to want to write about a lot more just because of the simple fact that a lot of the facts are already there, and I have a good understanding about what your business is, but you have to have a good story. I mean, it doesn't matter how good your media kit is. If there isn't a story that is compelling, that is of interest to the readers, then you can't make something out of nothing, and that's one of the misconceptions sometimes when people approach me as a publicist, and what I tell them is, well, you have a wonderful product, but how can we create a story? Because that's what the listeners or the viewers on television or the readers are truly interested in, is interesting stories.
And that goes back to what I just talked this last week. What is your why? Everything nowadays, because of the cycle we're in what is called a week cycle, it's about your why, the company's why. And instead of it used to be from the what, that is, here's the product, what, and going out, it's now coming from what is called that golden circle, where the why is in the center of everything. It's the heartbeat of what problems you solve or what your company or nonprofit stands for. But that media kit will tell your why. That's the story of who you are as a business, and that's so important in the whole business development and growing, identifying your target audience and everything. It's what your why is, and that's exactly what it is. See, I'm learning stuff. I'm connecting the dots here for me, especially.
Well, you're doing so many of these things intuitively, Victoria, not even knowing. I mean, I know how well you understand PR just by the way that your business is designed. It's having things like a radio show and understanding the value in that, and that in itself is a tremendous form of public relations. I mean, I've had a show myself for about 4 years. I initially actually wasn't going to have my own show. I was encouraging my clients to get shows because I just could see the value of having your message being presented on a consistent basis in front of an audience as being something that is very valuable. And then I finally had the opportunity to create my own show. It's been a wonderful experience. And as a PR firm, I've really encouraged a lot of people through the years to understand the value of having something like, from a PR point of view, of being able to tell people about your why, as you just said, in the form of a radio show. Why am I doing this? Week after week, you're explaining to people through this very show your why, which is amazing PR. Amazing.
Well, I mean, and I took the whole radio format. I mean, because I had seen your show out there, and I knew I couldn't write everything that we both said today. There's no way possible I could have put all this down into a written form just to distribute it. Just the content here would probably be 10 or 15-page blog that would last over a few months. But now people can listen in and gather so much information in this 45 minutes to a 60-minute, show, and go out and do something with it immediately. And also with the digital publication, because in my, just looking at marketing and how can I tell and reach more people, and at first I wasn't thinking about telling my why. I was thinking, how can I serve a bigger audience in terms of having them make changes? Because my whole goal is to have them become more effective and efficient, to be successful. And so I had to think of, what are all of the platforms that people are going to now? And almost everything, just like you said, this is the digital age. And if you don't have a platform or are reaching them where they are going, and that's digitally with either a journal or a radio show or something that's on their phone, tablet, or computer, then you miss the boat. And so you have to go where your clients are. And that's how I went into this whole radio show and the digital journal. That is just another way of me teaching, which is my why. My core is learning, culture of learning, and so that's the why here. But even in your media kit, I'm going to get back to the media kit. We go on these wonderful sidebars, which
we're both talk show hosts, so we can expect.
This show probably could have been 2 hours today. But getting back to the media kit, should a media kit be accessible to everyone? Should it be on your website, or should you make tweaks to it every time you send it out to or wait for someone to request it, or as you're sending out things, and tweak it for each presentation? That's my big question.
I don't know if you necessarily have to tweak it for each presentation. One of the important things that you should be doing is updating it constantly, because there's always changes in your business and your things that you've accomplished and the testimonials that you're receiving. So you want to keep it as fresh as possible. I think it is a good thing to have it right on your website, to have a media page, and it's actually I also suggest that to people always, is that they create an actual media page on their website, somewhere where someone can go and see what's been written about you. Because again, like I was talking about earlier, it's always about building your credibility and showing how you are different than everybody else that's out there. And when people see that you have articles that have been published about you, there's a lot of credibility building in that. When they're researching businesses that they want to work with, those are the kind of things that they're looking for. What are the results that you've produced?
Absolutely. So you have it on your website. So, and I'm hearing sort of two different priorities in it. One is so that reporters or someone that might be getting ready to do a feature on you has access to all of the things they might need: photos, pertinent details about the organization, the website, where to find you and connect with you and exactly what you do, but also a platform of building credibility to, I'll say, toot your own horn, as you said earlier on. This is a great way to toot your horn through the voices of others.
Right, and it's really simple. They go right to your website, and you've got a media page there, and they can go and they can learn a lot about your business. We live in a society now, because it's so digitally oriented, where that's how people do their research. And the easier that you make it for them, the more likely they are to do business with you.
Absolutely. I've been telling that to a lot of beginning nonprofits, or even some that have been out a while, and I say, okay, and it's Facebook and a lot of the different social media platforms and your website, and I start ticking off all these things. So do you have a Facebook page? Oh, well, no, I talk about it on my personal page. I said, no, you need the company page. Yes, it's nice to connect you personally with it, but the company needs its own presence, or that as its own entity, not as a part of that. But I think as we're talking, that this whole media kit will actually make the company become real, and I guess that's simplifying it, taking it way down, but it makes it stand alone as not a part of a person, even though the person might be the person or the individual that founded it, but for the business aspect, it's the why of the business and not so much the why of the person.
Yes, it's the story of your business, and even though with the media kit you are somewhat tooting your own horn, but the thing is that you're offering a lot of good factual information, and it's not so salesy as everyone's website. Yeah. We know that we present our businesses in a certain way with copy on our websites. Everyone does that. That's expected. It's the unexpected that people are interested in. And so when you're giving them a true story about your business, and that's why it's a good thing to make appearances on radio shows or TV shows, or to get an article published in a magazine or a newspaper or something, is because they're getting more than just sales copy. They are getting your story, and that's what that media kit will do for you. They'll learn a lot of interesting things. They may know someone who gave you a testimonial on your, and they see that on your in your media kit, and they say, "Oh, look, I know this person." So there's other people are building your credibility. Now they are also doing these things on your website, obviously. But in the world that we live in now, everything is we move at such a fast pace that whenever you can consolidate something into a very quick and readable form, and that's what a media kit is. It's a very quick, media-friendly digital form of information. And so it just allows people to very quickly get to information, know everything they need to know about you so that they can make an educated decision about whether or not they want to do business with you.
That is fabulous advice. I hope our listeners have really written down some of these key tips, because it's very important knowing and understanding the value of how, if you have a good marketing and PR campaign, it can boost your business. If you have a bad one or non-existent, basically your business could die. This could just disappear. So I want to say this. I mean, this has been another great show. I want to thank Guy Dawson. And it's such an important topic, marketing and PR. It's one of the key elements to be developed from beginning to end. It supports all aspects of your business. So make sure the message is effective and reaching, as he said, your ideal target audience. Now, Guy, if listeners need more information or perhaps your services, tell us how they can reach you. This is your marketing time. Let's see if we can't get you some clients out there. Tell us how they can reach you.
Again, I want to thank you, Victoria, for the wonderful opportunity to appear on your show. And I want to let you know how much I appreciate all the things that you're doing with the community through the Philantrepreneur Foundation and connecting with nonprofit organizations, which is another big part of PR that we need to really touch, is how much we work with the PR sector. But specifically about my business, if you want to get in contact with me for a free consultation, you can give me a ring at 702-845-6129, or you can visit my my website, which is classycommunications.net, and learn more about the services that I offer, or tune into the PR Connections radio show every Wednesday at 1 p.m. Actually, we're going to have our last edition at KLAB 12:30 a.m. this week. But you can visit my website, prconnectionsradio.com, to learn more details about the show, highlights, and it will continue to air every Wednesday at 1 p.m. Or you can watch the Guy Dawson Show, and that airs every Thursday, 2 p.m. at WCOBM.com, and that stands for the World Center of Broadcast Media. So, again, I appreciate the time to be on your show today, Victoria. Best of luck in your business and life.
Oh, I know. It's going to be great because you're helping me. Absolutely.
Yeah,
and if our listeners didn't get a chance to write down how to connect with Guy, they just go on to the archives of this radio show. I have his website posted right there on the description at http://classycommunications.net. They can connect directly with you through our archives of this radio show, The Power of PR with Guy Dawson. I want to thank you. Thank you so much, Guy, for joining us today. It's been great with a lot of great information.
Thank you, Victoria.
All right, talk to you soon. Talking about marketing, as we said and announced in our last show that was on April 1st, I want you to say the date. And yes, we did give a date of November 2nd through 4th, but as I learned and as I'm working with the convention areas out here, that is the week of SEMA, which is one of the biggest international conventions that comes through Las Vegas. And technically for a small nonprofit like the Philantrepreneur Foundation, we were finding the logistics of securing and holding our own hotels accommodations to be a challenge. Also, the prices were skyrocketing for accommodations. And because we always have our consumers' interest in mind, we decided to move the conference up 1 week to October 26th through 28th. That's still a Monday through Wednesday. The very prior week to that, October 26th through 28th, and we will present Impact Learning 2015. It will be 3 days and 2 topics. Day 1 is Impact Marketing, featuring Michael Drew, author of Pendulum. He'll be there talking about the pendulum recycle and the 12 steps of intimacy. Plus, he'll be doing a book signing right after his presentation. We'll also be talking about maximizing your internet marketing. And then day 2 and 3 is social enterprise for nonprofits. That's the only way to be self-sustaining and have impact in the future. Like the Philantrepreneur Foundation on Facebook, opt in on the website, and we will be running contest features and offering scholarships for organizations to come to that conference. But first, you must be a follower. Registration will open May 2nd with an early bird special, plus Vegas is a convention city. Make sure you register early and get in and get your room reserved. All the details will be at thephilantrepreneur.com/impactlearning2015. Again, are you a philantrepreneur with a story to tell? Remember, Guy Dawson is one of our column writers with Travels with Guy, and he'd love to interview you for a new column or be a guest on this show. Contact us today by submitting a guest inquiry form on the radio show page. And on our next show, May 6th, we will welcome Daphne Mallory, an Esquire. She's a lawyer that has been on and a writer for Entrepreneur Magazine. She's a media personality and international speaker and trainer. Basically, the list could go on and on. She will be discussing the power of family business and community development. So, this is Victoria Boyd. Thanking you for tuning in, and I will see you next time.
Thank you for tuning in to the Philantrepreneur Radio Show, hosted by Dr. Victoria Boyd. Get involved. Follow us on Facebook and other social media outlets. If you wish to share comments or suggestions or appear as a guest on our show, visit www.thephilantrepreneur.com. Contact Victoria Boyd. Email her at theboyd@thephilantrepreneur.com. The Philantrepreneur Radio Show is a production of and sponsored by the Philantrepreneur Foundation, a 501c3 tax-deductible organization.